So I want to say a few things that have nothing to do with the music. Number one, I stayed away from Knucks for a very long time because his name reminded me of a Peckham boy who I was petrified of when I was growing up. Completely unrelated, but I stayed away from his music for that very reason. Second of all, I just want to say that Knucks' success is another success for Nigeria. If you don't know, Nigeria is center of all culture. They just haven't really admitted that yet in the wider mainstream. And lastly, I'm not sure if you've been seeing a lot of Knucks' campaigns. Like, man's got lovely skin, bro. Like, his skin is fantastic, and he wears he wears like gold grills. And anybody who wears gold grills, like they're out of fucking Memphis, I'm down for it.
What's going on, world? This is the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast coming to you with your boys Peter, Mohammed, and myself, Yemi. We're here today to review Knucks' debut album, Alpha Place, with a special guest, Big Bro, one half of the This Could End Terribly podcast, Abiade.
Whoop whoop. No days off. No days off. No days off.
No days off.
See what I just did there?
I feel you.
You did that. It flows seamlessly into the review.
Thank you.
But before we get into the review, make sure you are subscribed to the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast YouTube channel. We are now dropping exclusive album reviews that will live only on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell so that you're notified whenever we drop an episode, and join the family. It's a lot of fun. Now, without further ado, time for the review. Knucks' Alpha Place. Knucks is a rapper from northwest London, Kilburn to be exact. He has been dropping music since about 2014 when he dropped his debut mixtape, Killmatic. Since then, he's dropped a bag of EPs, a bag of singles, and he's basically just been, doing bits in the underground. And he's now dropped his debut album, Alpha Place, quite recently. It has features by the likes of Stormzy, Millions, SL, Young's Teflon, Saint, Shea Universe,
Strong.
Lexa Moore, Rags Original, and Venna. And production by the likes of TSB, M1 on the Beat, Venna, Rags Original, Dotnik, Geno, and Knucks himself. It's been a long time coming for Knucks, and it's an album that the scene has very much been looking forward to, especially as his powers have kind of risen to the surface a lot more in the last couple of years. And now the time has come for us to review it. I know a couple of us were looking forward to the album, Peter especially. He's a big fan of Knucks, myself as well. So, boys, Alpha Place. It's named after the estate he grew up in, and he led with the single Alpha House, along with Hide and Seek featuring SL, and he had Leon the Professional as well. And he recently dropped the video for Die Hard with Stormzy as well. So the guy's busy.
I ain't trying to die hard, I'm trying to die great.
Okay, P, what did you think of Alpha Place by Knucks?
I really enjoyed it, man. I actually thought it was really, really fire. I love the storytelling. I didn't realise how much of a good storyteller Knucks was. I've always appreciated his flow. I think he's definitely the smoothest MC the UK has. I think alongside Wretch, there's just something like quite laid back and still quite aggressive with his flow, and I've just always really enjoyed it. But this project itself, it kind of surprised me. I didn't really have any expectations going into it, but as I was listening, I just found myself liking way more songs than I thought I would. I enjoyed the storytelling. I really enjoyed the way he kind of painted the necessary pictures. I felt like the album was a nice sort of backdrop and introduction to where he came from. And I felt like he painted the pictures extremely vividly. And yeah, man, I thought it was dope. I really enjoyed it, man. And I've been listening to it consistently for like the last few days. There were a couple of songs in it that I didn't really care for, but generally, I found that the album was...
Which ones were those?
I didn't enjoy the one with Lexa Moore.
Yo, I hate that shit.
Yeah, I'm not...
You like it?
I'm not really a fan of Lexa Moore.
I think it's just the way she raps on it that I didn't really quite like.
Yeah, her
The
flow.
nasally.
Yeah, it's quite... It's a bit too
nasally,
sleepy.
but also lazy. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
lazy.
nasal. It's nasal and it's lazy. It sounds kind of like... Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know much about her, so...
I mean, if you listen to more of her music, that's actually her kind of more amped up.
For real?
Yeah. I think it's because of the beat. Usually she's riding more like subtle, kind of more subtle beats anyway. Kind of more like in a jazz rap
So
kind
beats that kind of complement that.
beats that kind of
flow.
complement her.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you heard it on like the Koji album and this Knucks album, it's a lot more amped up because the
Yeah.
beats around her are just got a lot more like full of life. So for that, I appreciated that because it meant that she actually had to like get to a point where we can actually hear her.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want me to go, I really enjoyed this album as well. I think conceptually, and I think musically, it hit for me, man. I think with Knucks, he's just been one of the more consistent rappers coming out of the UK generally. Ever since like he dropped like Breakfast at Tiffany's and Vows, and Can and like 2015, 2016, he's always been like a different guy. And everything that I love about him just kind of came through on this album when it comes to the storytelling. Leon the Professional, like the story on that.
Seen the video?
I haven't seen the video.
I love the video, man.
But the beat, the storytelling, just the way he rides it, the way he's so smooth with everything he talks about. It's very tight, very concise writing as well.
Yeah.
Like this album made me appreciate his writing a lot more because not only is he able to like paint a picture with his words, he's able to keep it tight. It doesn't feel like filler. Like he gets to the point of a story. Like songs don't clock any more than maybe like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But within those 4 minutes, he tells you everything that you need to know. So for that, I appreciate that. I think Alpha House sets the tone for the album. Like
Big up Venner.
Big up Venner.
Alpha House is like such a fire song.
Bruv.
Fire,
It's a bit too short for me though.
So I was reading a little bit. I was like doing a bit of research, and he did a track by track breakdown of it. And he described Venner's bit as like Venner's verse. He was like, I wrote this verse, but I knew that I only wanted one verse for this thing. So I told Venner to basically do the equivalent of a verse, and that's why his part is quite extended. And I was just like, it's like one of the waviest things I've heard in a while.
That makes sense.
But it's an amazing intro to the album. Like honestly, like it sets the tone, 100%.
100%. And then it goes into Nice and Good, and then I think Hide and Seek as well. I think it's just back to back, like great. I think the album generally, for me anyway, it kind of played out like, because it's got the kind of more greasy bits, and then it's gonna kind of got the kind of Loverboy Knucks bits as well. I think mostly it kind of plays out like a cautionary tale of what could happen if like you lead a life that then leads into the roads, and you know the consequences that could come from that. And I think he did that very, very well. And then when he goes into like Far with Rags, and he goes into Player with Saint, when it's a little bit more like free and he's being a bit more cocky and boastful, like it shows that he can give you that as well. So that duality of his artistry, and the fact that he's actually producing a lot on this album as well. Like
I was quite surprised by that.
his production chops.
He's all over it.
Yeah, I didn't
It's
realize.
literally he produces every track, but like you'll have like M1 and them man like co-producing. So you'll hear like the producer tags on the tracks, but it's basically Knucks in collaboration with them. So it's basically a self-produced album.
Yeah.
To
And
be fair.
it's such a high quality as well.
Yeah.
It's the fact
You know, you said cautionary. I didn't get that. Like, I didn't feel like he was glorifying what he was talking about, but I didn't feel the caution behind what he was talking about. I think it just sounded very matter of fact and very just, it is what it is.
It's the life he lives.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like any sort of caution from it though.
I think if you listen to Leon the Professional, at least the perspective I got from it is that he's telling a story of someone who was a professional at what he was doing, and he got nicked, sort of thing. So whether you take it or not, you can probably take that song, give it to someone and be like, this is an example of what could happen if you go a certain way. And if you want to do that, cool. If you don't, then
I don't think he didn't
away.
get nicked though. He got shot. He jumped out the window, and we don't even know what happened. If you watch the video, it might make a bit more sense.
I haven't seen
And I
the
think it
video, I haven't
references
seen
the
the video,
film as well, Leon the French. Leon, I think-
classic.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, is
He
that a film as well?
reinterpreted, he reinterpreted that. But that's why I think it's so dope, because he made it a UK hood version of that, and it just it sounded dope to me.
Well, in any case, it's still a great album.
Yeah.
I think the guest features were dope. I think Young Teflon was dope. Millions killed it. Stormzy.
I ain't like Millions though, man. I ain't like his verse on that.
I'm half and
I
half.
didn't even really like the song. Shay Universe sounded great.
Had you heard any Millions before?
Yes. Yeah, I think wasn't Young Gets his album.
No.
Or was
Was
it
he on-
Dave? Was it Dave?
In the fire, was he on In the Fire?
Yeah.
No, it
Was he
wasn't.
on?
No,
What
that
was
was
that?
that was
That was
Meeks.
That was
yeah.
That was Mixed Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it might have been the first time.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's on the album as well, and I can't go back to it.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I wasn't a fan.
Oh.
Like I tried to listen to it a few times. So, this is what I think the problem is. I listened to Kendrick's album
In
and
the same week.
in the same week,
Ah, shit.
and I looped Kendrick's album, and then I sat on Knucks' one for obviously the pod, and I feel like I couldn't adjust my mindset to let me leave this and get here now, because I've sat on Knucks' album, went for about 3 listens with it. There's some songs I like, Bible I like, the song with Stormzy I like, but as an all around album, it just didn't connect with me. Like, I didn't. He's a barer, don't get me wrong, I'll never take that away from him. But as an overall album, the way you guys might go back to it, I don't think I will. Actually,
Wow.
why am I saying I don't think I will? I won't.
Wow.
Like the album didn't have replay value to me personally.
Mad.
Well, I apologize, guys.
Yeah, no, that's mad, bro.
I don't. It generally don't.
I'm
like,
really surprised.
Mo
man.
came
I've tried.
into the studio and was like, "Yo, you guys aren't gonna like my Knucks."
That's why I
tape."
said it.
And I was like, you know what? I think I know where he's gonna be at with the energy, and I might agree with some of that.
No,
But
like
happy to say I don't agree with any
like
of this.
generally, I had a feeling you lot want to look at me like I'm crazy. Like it didn't have replay value for me. I tried to sit on it a few times. It just wasn't.
Feel you?
It wasn't pulling me. But it might honestly be the Kendrick effect.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how much that plays a factor in it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why artists don't come out when he makes music, just
Yeah.
because you need to give that avenue to him. And trying to tangle both albums was never going to work.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone back to Kendrick, yeah, but with Knucks' album, I just didn't get it. And this was also my intro to him as well. Never listened to Knucks before. This album was my introduction to him as a rapper. But yeah, no, I just didn't. I can't say I didn't like it, because there was songs there that I liked. His bar heavy, I liked his story, the wordplay, everything was amazing. But just as a replay factor for an album, I don't think it has it for me.
If you could
I'm
pinpoint
really
one
surprised.
thing, what would it be? Would it be the beats?
It'll be just the production, just the rapping style.
Yeah.
Just at times I was checking out. I might be bugging here. I genuinely didn't like the album. Like,
Yeah.
it genuinely just.
I do want to say something about the rapping style, which is going to be part of my review, but I'll let you finish first.
Yeah, no, that's it. So like, yeah, the rapping style, just at times I was checking out without intending to. And that's the problem I had. There was times I was just checking out, and then the second time I listened to it with the lyrics up, just so I can kind of understand what's going on a little bit more. But all around, I wouldn't say it had replay value to me that I'm going to go back to anyway.
So I want to say a few things that have nothing to do with the music. Number one, I stayed away from Knucks for a very long time because his name reminded me of a peckham boy who I was petrified of when I was growing up. Completely unrelated, but I stayed away from his music for that very reason. Second of all, I just want to say that Knucks' success is another success for Nigeria.
Gang.
If you don't know, Nigeria is center of all culture. They just haven't really admitted that yet in the wider mainstream. And lastly, I'm not sure if you've been seeing a lot of Knucks' campaigns. Like, man's got lovely skin, bro. Like, his skin is fantastic, and he wears he wears like gold grills. And anybody who wears gold grills, like they're out of fucking Memphis, I'm down for it. Now back to the album. Honestly, I think this album, yeah, like it doesn't get more like concise. It doesn't get more tight an album than this. Like, it's 40 minutes, I think, overall. The flows, his style is fairly repetitive if we're being like harshly critical, right? He has a style in it, and he kind of flows the same on a lot of tracks, but I don't think that's necessarily a problem. This album overall, I think the first half is like phenomenal. I think the first half of this album is like 10 out of 10. But I actually think, to like, I guess, clash with your point, I actually think like the second half, where the majority of like the big collaborations come in, is where the album gets a bit weaker. So I don't actually like the Stormzy song. I don't like. I don't like the Rag song. Like, I didn't like the Lexa Moore song. I can listen to them, but I didn't really like them. And obviously the album then finishes quite strongly with Los Pollos, Hermanos. But I think the strength of this album lies 100% in the first 5 or 6 tracks, because literally from Alpha House to again track 6 or 7, like that's the part of it where I'm like disagreeing with Mo's point about replay value, because I could listen to those 6 songs just like back like over and over and over again.
Do you think it's because of the subject matter? Because the first half is kind of like more of the serious Knucks, whereas
Yeah.
the second half is a little bit more like playful.
maybe, but I don't know. Like, I think he tried to capture a mood overall in this album, and I think the mood is best encapsulated by that first half. I think second half is where it loses a little bit of its cohesion, but maybe because, as you say, he's trying to get a little bit more playful. But for me, that first 6 or 7 tracks is where this album, for me, like, I've honestly, like, no gas, like one of the more enjoyable 6 or 7 entry tracks or opening tracks to an album I've heard from the UK in about a year and a half. RT, salute Knucks.
So what, you didn't like Die Hard with Stormzy?
I really didn't.
You
So
jumped,
so
you
I
said
really
that's
didn't. I really didn't. And I don't know what it is. Like,
You didn't like the stunting?
That's insane.
I didn't like it. I didn't like
Stormzy went
it.
crazy on that song.
Did he?
I think he had
He floated,
a great. I think he
He was floating, man.
definitely floated.
Just for what he was saying.
He definitely.
I
Floated
want
on
more of
song.
that Stormzy. That kind of
That braggadocious, yeah.
on that
That
kind of
braggadocious.
production.
Stormzy's crazy.
Like, give me 12 of those, and it's a very good album from Stormzy.
I will never get that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It just didn't hit.
That's crazy. That's
Just
my
didn't
favorite
hit.
song on the album.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
my
no,
favourite
it
song
just
on
didn't.
the
It just didn't hit for me. I don't know why. Like, it didn't hit for me. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a shit song, but it just wasn't my favorite. That's probably skippable for me going forward.
I think with regards to what you said in relation to the second half of the album, even though there were songs on that part that I didn't like, I think it fit. The only one that may not have fit was the one with Rags for me personally. And I love Rags, but I didn't really like what they were doing on that track. And I
That
think
one
it was
took me a while.
Rags's feature on it that kind of did that. Because had it just been Knucks, I might have felt a bit differently. And then the song with Saint, I think that fit relatively well. I didn't like the Lexa Moore song, but I think it still fit. I I think the whole thing is very cohesive, even though there were songs that I don't like. So it works.
With the Lex song, I like the idea of it because it's about chickening in your people, right? Even if you didn't necessarily like the Lex feature, the actual subject matter and the concept, I can get jiggy with. With the Rag song, it took me a while. I think it wasn't his best production, and his feature wasn't necessarily the best, but Knucks did his thing. And again, it's down to the whole playful, lover boy type of thing. So you can afford to be a bit looser with the concept and how you're delivering. The Stormzy one, I love that one. Just because it's just stunning on the next level. So, and even the last song, Three Musketeers, dope.
I love that as well.
Very
It's
dope
like
way
an
to end
ode to friendship.
Yeah, it picks up those last two songs. It's Three Musketeers and then Los Pollos Hermanos is the last two tracks, right? Yeah, it ends strongly, but maybe it's that midsection, right? I think after Send Nudes, there's like 4 tracks, including the Stormzy one, where it's just like, okay, that's all right.
So Play Off, Die Hard, and Checkmate.
Yeah, those are the ones that are a little bit weaker. But that's in the backdrop of a first half of that album, which I just think is phenomenal. Like RT, that first 6 tracks, they're amazing to me. So it's not a slight. It's just more like, cohesively, it just loses its way a little bit after that second half. But finishes strongly.
Does that affect your view on the album quite a bit, or not that much?
Nah, I think like, you know where we're at right now. Like if you have an album like this, which is what, 13, 14 tracks and 7 of them you like, amazing result. You feel me? Like I don't know if we have too many quote unquote unskippables on any albums these days, really. Kendrick included, which we'll get onto later. But yeah, no, it was a strong album. I'll be listening to this. I listened to this. I didn't like Mo listen to this in the same week I listened to Kato. I actually listened to this when it dropped. So I was on a long bus journey, so I had like enough time to take it in and just like zone out. So I enjoyed it. But so I'll go back to it for sure. But yeah, for me,
I listened to this after I listened to Kendrick.
For real?
Yeah, and I was very happy. I was very happy with this album, man. I was like, yes.
I
I'm so
could do it,
happy that
man.
Knucks kind of produced this, man, and I'm very proud of him. I'm very proud. I think it's one of the best UK releases of the year so far.
I agree. Mo, like, after listening to Kendrick, do you think your expectations might have been heightened subconsciously?
I think, subconsciously you go into it thinking, especially when you've looped an album.
that's tough on Knucks.
No, it's very tough.
Yo, that's tough on Knucks, yo.
That's why I can't really. It's tough. It's the way the mind works. Don't blame me. I literally sat on Kendrick maybe 5-6 times. Then I was like, alright, cool. It's time to sit on Knucks' album now. Yeah. And there was times I was just checking out. Like, I'm gonna go back to the album 100%, but as of right now, it just didn't do it for me.
Is this the first?
And it might be very, very unfair on him.
Yeah.
But it's just the way we had to come into the podcast with the Kendrick album, and the way we're gonna get to it later. The way I enjoyed that album, it made me go back to it damn near every day. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Whereas Knucks' album, I had to give it maybe a day or two, but it just didn't hit me. There was times I was listening to Knucks' album a few times, and it's like by track 9, 10. I'm like, all right, let me go double back on this Kendrick album. Yeah. And that's the problem, man.
I actually thought you'd love it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the sound is very you.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it could be very, very unjustifiable on what I'm doing to Knucks. I'll be so honest. It could be so unjustifiable. But it's hard to break out of a mindset when...
I think you should go back to it.
Do you know what I mean?
Give it a few weeks.
I'm going to give it a few weeks until where we've done Kendrick, because I can see myself listening to Kendrick for the next however long. And it was just getting apart. Because whatever album I go back to now isn't going to hit the same due to how I feel about Kendrick's thing. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of whatever album it is.
That tune he did with Loyal Kana. It's like, I stand out like a black man in Kazakhstan.
Yeah, I think it's called Stand Out.
Yeah, bruv. Knucks is the one, man. Knucks is that guy.
I'll double back on it, but as of right now, man, it didn't move me, as some say.
And maybe go back to his earlier work as well.
I need to double back on that.
He has a good song with Wretch as well. On I think the project before last.
That's something when he called a GOAT.
And listen to Home as well. Homer's like the tune that got a lot of people talking about.
I'm gonna double back on Knucks. He's a rap. I never once said he can't rap.
Did you like?
You could clock him clearly that he can rap.
Did you like Los Pollos Hermanos?
Yeah, I did.
You like that?
Yeah,
you don't like Breaking Bad? Look at you.
What do you want me to do?
You're a madman, bro.
You don't like Breaking Bad? Oh, I remember that conversation.
No, it's arguably the most overrated show of all time.
Big up Gustavo Fring, man.
For what?
All day, bro.
For great chicken and meth.
Great chicken. Oh, he did cook chicken, didn't
That's why we're rating.
That's the one black brother we had in the whole show. Right? That's the one black brother we had in the whole show.
I mean,
no, we ain't doing that.
It was one black brother in the whole show.
Is that what you're doing?
Oh, sorry. How many more? Give me 3 more.
Probably had like 3.
In the whole show?
Maybe.
That's worse than Friends.
So, lads.
But back to my point.
Who are your favourite features?
Stormzy for me.
Oh, Young's Tef.
Young's Tef, without a doubt.
he felt like that older G in the hood that was just jaded and was just also just passing on his wealth of knowledge from the streets to a young G maybe living the same sort of lifestyle, and you just heard that. And he's been around for time, innit? So I think that feature
A little
kind of
while,
fit,
innit?
and that perspective fit as well.
Oh, 100%. Definitely. He definitely fit on that song. For me, it was Millions.
For you, yeah.
And Shea Universe, to be fair. I think they combine really well on
Yeah,
that song.
It's a
The
strong
way
song.
the way she kind of sings and then he goes and he starts and the way he just effortlessly, in his own way, kind of just
Where's-
describes how he's going to bring arms out to the ops and that
Where's
in the
Millions from?
calmest fashion.
Where's Millions from?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah.
Birmingham, innit?
Yeah, man, he's
Birmingham.
he's easily one of my favorite UK rappers right now,
Keep
just
us
because
in
he's so
that.
different. Just because he's so different at how he conveys himself. But
What did you think of the SL feature?
Dope.
dope. I like SL.
That was the
I've
first
been
time
like
I'd heard
SL.
him. That was the first time I'd heard him.
Yeah,
I didn't really like his style, but it still complemented Knucks because
Yeah.
it's so different. I still enjoyed the track as well, but I didn't really, ain't really for me.
Yeah,
But
SL been dope, man. From like he came out in like what 2017, and since then he's been dropping consistently, and he's always been good for that kind of delivery. The only thing with him is that as he gets older, is obviously his worldview's going to change because it's still very much samey what he actually raps about. But generally, he's a good rapper and he's going to go far, I think, especially when he takes off that mask.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's a good album. Man.
I want the momentum to be strong because one of the things that's the problem with like UK rappers overall is just like there's not a great deal of activity in between the albums, right? And Knucks is an album artist, you feel me? So one of the things that is going to stop him from being as great as he potentially can be is if there's nothing between this and the next release. So I just hope, and I guess this is just a genuine appeal to the UK scene as a whole, I just hope there's just more collaboration between the artists because we need that really.
The album finished top 3, innit?
He got top 5, didn't he? Yeah, I mean,
Number 3,
fucking
yeah.
hell,
That's
man.
crazy.
Yo,
That's
that's
charts
amazing. That's
on that
amazing.
release.
Wait,
That's
someone like him as
amazing.
well, that's a great look.
And that's the good thing about his
Yeah.
album. Like when we saw the feature list, it made us think, raw. There's so many talents, especially from Stormzy down, who are invested in Knucks and respect him and rate him. So I think that's only gonna improve for Knucks. I feel like, and Knucks is the kind of guy who he times everything that he does and everything he puts out is with purpose.
Yeah.
So
That's
he's
a bad thing sometimes, though. That's kind of going back to my point. Just keep putting stuff out, man. Output. I think we're at that stage now where we just got to have more output.
yeah, but sometimes when you do that, the quality can be diluted, innit?
Yeah, but if we have one album from Knucks every 2 to 3 years, then I think that also doesn't necessarily do a great deal for his.
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
it depends on
I
your
think he'll drop
status, innit?
EPs. I think he'll drop EPs.
Yeah, he just needs to keep it coming. He's got a real sweet spot in terms of his niche, in terms of his sound, and I think he needs to. Definitely capitalize off that, and not wait too long.
Yeah, he's very much in that kind of same ring as kind of like Little Sims and Koji Radical, to where they've kind of built themselves up for years,
Yeah.
and they've now kind of blown, I suppose. And now the next move is probably going to be the most crucial.
Is he signed?
He was signed to Ireland, and then he left, but I don't think he signed.
Yeah, so I think it's like
anymore.
No Days Off is the thing, right?
Yeah,
so
No
I
Days
think
Off.
that's like independent,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
independent.
which is amazing for him to get top 5
That's
or whatever
crazy
it was
for
for him
top
to
five
do that on independent again, man. Unbelievable.
Salute to
Salute
him.
to
man.
him.
Keep buying that shit, RT.
Yeah.
So you say where he goes from here, he should just keep.
He needs to
dropping
keep
stuff?
banging it out. He needs to keep banging it out. He's clearly got industry friends. He needs to be hollering at everybody making an album over the next couple of years. Get a quick 16 on any album he can. You know what I mean? He just needs to flood it. Like, we need rappers like him. And rappers like him, unfortunately, as you say, well thought out, methodical, etc. But sometimes that means that they just don't put out enough. We need rappers like him putting out more. And that goes to Koji, that goes to Sims, all of them. They can't just be like, you know what I mean, like unicorns that appear every now and again.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what might make them a
we need
unicorn,
them more. Huh?
That's what might make them a unicorn, though, isn't it?
Part of their
I
appeal
get
is
it,
You know
I
what
get
I
it.
mean?
But,
Like,
but I
just,
guess the challenge
Staying
is,
away from.
I guess the challenge is like keeping that quality up with a frequent amount of collaborations. That's their next challenge. Do you know what I mean? You can't just rely upon yourself and the albums that you release every 2 to 3 years to show everybody you're a unicorn. You have to get on 16s and be amazing on those
sure,
as well.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's the good thing about Knucks. He's kind of part of this kind of like in the kind of UK underground. He's kind of part of a wider affiliation of artists like Oscar World Peace, like Rags Original, like Benji Flow, like Miles from Kinshasa. They all collab with each other. So there's always going to be that. He's never going to be just, I'm going to drop something, I'm just going to disappear. He's always going to be active. He's always going to be doing whatever he needs to do. He's always going to be touring and all that stuff. So he's probably more active than some of the other people that we've named.
yeah.
And I reckon he's going to continue to do so, especially now that his name is so in the limelight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Salute
Good.
to him.
We need that. His sound is fire.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
His sound is so fire.
The fact
It's
that
so
it's
me
his as well.
Yeah, it's so me. Like, I'm down.
100%. Man.
Salute him.
Favorite tracks, lads?
Give me Leon the Professional.
Yeah,
Die Hard.
yeah. No,
No, Bible.
that's the Stormzy one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Bible with Young's Tef.
Yeah,
Alpha House, the intro, and I like Hide and Seek.
yeah. Literally for me, anything from that first half. But I do love Bible. I
yeah.
think when M1 starts doing that thing with a kick, when he's like, when the food's been missing,
Yeah,
the food being
yeah,
that
yeah.
is like fire.
Yeah.
And then Young Tef, you remember Bolla, both of you,
Yeah.
from the end. Shout out Bolla. Bolla got me into Young's Tef early doors.
Yeah.
So to hear him on a track like this is amazing. So yeah, anything. I like Leon the Professional a lot, but man, Alpha House, it just sets the tone, bro. That tune is so fire.
Yeah.
Venna, like, by the way,
Did his thing.
if you haven't listened to Venna's like EP, I mean, it came out last year, I think, so it's not new. Check it out. Like, it's basically instrumental. But yeah, shout out Venna as well.
I think Knucks was on that a couple times as well, wasn't he?
Maybe,
Once or twice.
if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's mainly instrumental though.
No, you're right. Give me Alpha House, Decisions, Leon the Professional, Die Hard, and Three Musketeers. Nope.
And I'll go with Alpha House, Bible, and Die Hard. Die Hard is definitely my favorite. I can't lie to you.
Mo is
And that's
begrudgingly
Bible.
giving some favorite
Yeah, he
tracks
didn't wanna- he didn't
off,
wanna
be
off
honest
this
with you.
album that he's just sullied.
No, I didn't. Let's not do that. We sullied Future's album. I didn't Future album this.
You kind of sullied this.
How we sullied Future's album?
You know why you sullied it? Because
How?
you listened to Kendrick and then you thought, oh yeah, this is probably gonna be the same level. And
I definitely didn't think that. Respect.
Are you
There's
sure?
no way. But just subconsciously, I went into it thinking, I want to hear some rappity rap. And which
Yo,
you
Mo's
gave me,
impossible sometimes, man. I'm telling you.
Wow, I can't think one
Very
album. is
impossible.
Don't mind.
Yo,
him,
you
man.
might not gonna
impossible
make me take
sometimes.
this song with cuz this album's. You know what? Let me shut my mouth.
Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
Can't lie, slightly greedy, but that's neither here.
Relax.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's
No.
not true,
I was
bro.
fishing. I was fishing.
See, when you say stuff like meaty,
I was fishing.
I hear you. Well, I mean, salute to Knucks, man. You've dropped a very good project, and yeah, man, we hope for the best for you in the coming days, weeks, months, and years.
Yeah, man.
Let us know what you think of Knucks' Alpha Place in the comment section down below. But until next time, we're gonna sign off. So, till next time, we are the Rhymes Like Dimes podcast featuring Abiade. Thank you for coming down, bro.
Done now.
Appreciate you.
And
Thanks for having me.
Salute to Knucks.
salute to Knucks.
All day, man.
Yeah, man. And we'll see you soon. Take care.
My cashmere got her moving irate. You know she lose her mind for the right suede.
He's
And that's
touching
how
me
we phase
again.
it out.